A new front just opened in the world's most important oil arteries. On Monday, Yemen's Houthis, an Iran-backed group, declared a maritime blockade on Saudi Arabia, threatening the kingdom's oil exports through the Red Sea and opening a second choke point in the widening war between the United States and Iran.
The Houthis said the ban on Saudi ships would take effect immediately, framing it as an eye-for-an-eye response to what they call a Saudi siege of the Yemeni capital, Sana'a. The declaration puts at risk the millions of barrels of crude that Saudi Arabia now ships out through the Red Sea. Oil markets reacted. Brent crude, which had briefly traded above $90 a barrel earlier in the day, settled back around 88.
To see why this matters, follow the oil. Iran's war with the United States has throttled the Strait of Hormuz, the gateway that once carried about a fifth of the world's oil, to a near standstill. So Saudi Arabia leaned on a decades-old backup, a giant east-west pipeline that carries crude from its eastern oil fields across the country to the Red Sea port of Yanbu. That pipeline now runs at a record 7 million barrels a day, and it never touches Hormuz. But reaching the Red Sea is only half the journey. From Yanbu, that oil leaves through two very different doors. Tankers bound for Europe sail north towards the Suez Canal. Tankers bound for Asia sail south through the narrow Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Right now, Yanbu is pushing out roughly 4 to 5 million barrels a day, split between those two routes. And it isn't only Saudi oil at stake. The Red Sea is the world's great shortcut, and it runs both ways. Gulf oil and Asian goods sail north through the Suez Canal toward Europe, and Russian crude, shut out of the West by sanctions, streams south through the canal toward its biggest buyers, India and China. Bab el-Mandeb is the southern gate for all of it, so vital and so dangerous that mariners have long called it the Gate of Tears. Around 7% of the world's oil passes through it. Now the trap. Block Bab el-Mandeb, and the oil heading south to Asia has nowhere to go. Hormuz is already throttled, so both of the Middle East's great export doors would be shut at the same time. Reuters reports that a full closure would remove about 7% of global oil supply, on top of the roughly 10% the Gulf War has already taken offline, and the kingdom's single most important outlet to Asia would slam shut. For the world's through traffic, there is a way around, but it is a long one. Ships that can no longer cross the Red Sea must sail all the way around the southern tip of Africa, past the Cape of Good Hope, adding as much as 2 weeks to every voyage to Europe. It is the same detour that snarled global trade during the Houthi attacks of 2023 and 2024.
But that detour does not help the oil already trapped inside the Red Sea. Saudi Arabia's choices would be stark. It could push its European barrels further north, through the Suez Canal and the Sumed pipeline to the Mediterranean, though that route is already running full. It could try to force more crude back through the throttled Strait of Hormuz, or it could simply store the oil and pump less. None of those fully replaces the lost road to Asia, which is why closing this second choke point would roughly double the war's blow to the world's oil. But a blockade is not the same as a full closure. This one is aimed squarely at Saudi ships. And through the last Red Sea crisis, the Houthis pointedly waved Russian and Chinese tankers through, even as Western shipping fled around Africa. So the immediate squeeze falls on Saudi Arabia, while Russian oil bound for India and China has so far kept sailing. The 7% number is the worst case, the one that only arrives if the strait ever closes to everyone. That is the line the market is now watching.
So how did we get here? The spark was an airport. A 4-year truce between Saudi Arabia and the Houthis had largely held until this month. The Houthis reopened Sana'a Airport to fly an Iranian plane carrying rebel officials to Tehran for the funeral of Iran's late supreme leader, the first direct flight between Yemen and Iran in over a decade. Saudi Arabia allegedly tried to block the landing. The plane was later forced down at the port of Hodeidah, and the two sides traded strikes on each other's airports, including a Houthi attack on Aba in southern Saudi Arabia, the worst flare-up since the ceasefire. For markets, the question is enforcement, not rhetoric. Analysts note the Houthis have made threats before without acting. A warning to Israel earlier this year went unenforced. But even the announcement alone is enough to disrupt shipping and unsettle insurers. Chatham House's Faria al-Muslimi is blunter, warning that the region is back to 2015 and that hopes of containing the war are wishful thinking. And yet the same week cuts the other way. Iran has received a mediator's proposal for a 10-day ceasefire, and Tehran signaled that diplomatic contacts remain active. For now, two choke points sit in play at once, and the world will be watching this new development with unease.